Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing good wherever you are. I just wanted to mention something today, and I'll play a video clip of one of the brightest minds in Kenya who I think should be running for president in 2027. The issue right now that Kenyans are facing, actually the hot topic right now, is this whole Maandamano that's going to happen on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that was announced by Raila Odinga. Now, I've always asked myself and always believed or suspected that this political class, members of the political class, and I'm talking about Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto, and the rest of them, whether it's on the Kenya Kwanza side or on the Azimio side, I feel like these guys are in one club and they play us. They pit us against each other for us to be distracted from the real issues. Because as I look at, if I listen to their pronouncements, especially from the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza side, the reaction thereof, they seem not to actually address the issue. The issue right now is about Maandamano. If you look at the internet, the Twitter pages and the Facebook pages, everyone is obsessed with the whole what will happen on Wednesday. Or are they going to arrest Raila? Are they going to assassinate him? They're talking about Moses Kuria's tweet and Cheragay's tweet. I mean, all this childish behavior online. But we fail to address the real issues. Azimio are in the streets telling us that they are out there protesting against the cost of living, the high cost of living, okay? And also they are protesting against the finance bill, fair and square. As per the constitution, they are allowed to go out the streets and protest. That's okay, it's allowed. But we cannot run away from the fact that every time we have a Maandamano, there's always chaos. Chaos caused by some part of these protesters, okay? And of course, the police also can be apportioned that blame too for causing chaos, because they come in, use maybe excessive force in some cases, and there'll be chaos, okay? Now, we heard about the UN warning about the excessive force by the government and stuff like that. But let's break it down. Can we address the issues that actually people are protesting against, okay? The issue is the high cost of living and the finance bill. How can we improve the economy? Now, the only one person that I feel like nobody is listening, and he's taken the legal recourse to deal with the issues, because Kenyans, we are suffering and we're being overtaxed in the name of debt payment. So let's address it by all means, okay? How much debt do we owe? Okay? Now, Okiya Mtata and Jimmy Wanjigi, among others, had done their audits, and they've audited some of these debts that we've taken, and they came to a conclusion. These debts were not lawfully acquired, okay? So they qualified as odious debt. Some of them, according to Okiya Mtata, did not even reach Kenya, okay? Yet we are paying for it, all right? For example, the Eurobond, okay? And the SGR, okay? Now, the finance bill, not only this finance bill of 2023-2024, which Ruto is trying to pass, riddled with high taxes, it was illegally passed as per the constitution, okay? Okiya Mtata also tells us that the past finance bills that have been passed during the past 10 years by the Jubilee regime led by Uhuru Kenyatta, and later with his handshake brother, Raila Odinga, who joined him in the handshake in a Nusu Mkate government, the finance bill that was passed then were also illegal. Not only that, the loans that were taken during that tenure, okay? So the blame can be apportioned to both sides, Kenya Kwanza and Jubilee, which has morphed under the Azimio coalition, okay? But instead of us actually paying attention to these cases, which really have very, 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 very strong effect on how our economy runs and how we govern ourselves, and the lack of people abiding by the law, we are still busy chest thumping, talking about how we are going to confront each other during Maandamano, instead of paying attention to actually things that can actually help us. I don't want to make this video long, but I'll just let Okiya Omtatah give his speech and tell us about the previous loans that we've taken, and also the loans that we are actually taking, that we are acquiring illegally, as the Constitution spells out which condition under which we should borrow, okay? And the laws, equals the laws that highlights how we should pass the bill, the finance bill, or how appropriation bill comes to place, and also how a finance bill is the process of passing a finance bill. It should be passed after the appropriation bill is approved by the parliament, which did not happen and hasn't happened for the past 10 years. Those are the issues that we should be concerned with. The misappropriation of these funds from the previous governments, okay? The unlawful process in which these bills are being passed through parliament. We need to pay attention to that, instead of talking about Maandamano and how the government and Azimio shall kill each other. Look at what's happening in Sondo right now. That should not be happening. This problem can be solved, and I'll let Okiya Omtatah talk about what I just highlighted, okay? If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe, share, like, and comment. Tell me what you think. Here's Okiya Omtatah.
Then you ask yourself, where is all this money going? They can't show anything for it. So we must come down and ask ourselves, these debts that are killing us, that are killing this nation, whereby now they are saying university students, you have no school fees for you. And I've told you the budget, the current budget of Dr. William Ruto, the president, 70% of it is to go and pay debt. So we cannot sit pretty on the question of debt. If it's taking 70% of our budget, it's a state of war, and we must go to war. We must ask ourselves, what did this money do? We must be given a register of what the money did, how it was borrowed. The other tragedy is that of the money that has been declared as a debt, the Constitution requires that only Parliament can approve debt to be borrowed. And Parliament does that through an Appropriations Act. If you take the Appropriations Act from the time after Kibaki left, and I'm using Kibaki cut off because the new Constitution came into power. This was the first government that was really full with the new Constitution in 2013, when you got the devolution and what have you. So when you begin the Appropriations Acts for the 10 years of Uhuru, you find that the real debt that Parliament approved is half what the Treasury has published. So who authorized this debt? And if it was not authorized by Parliament, do we have to pay it? Because the essence of Parliament is that there's no taxation without representation. So if you are not represented when this debt was incurred, is that a foreign debt? Is that a sovereign debt or a private debt? To me, it's a private debt. It belongs to a regime, and we should force the regime owners to pay. They are wealthy people. We can auction them and pay that debt. No, there's no other way. If you want to survive, we have the law, the Constitution. Fidelity to the Constitution means making painful decisions. If anything, the Constitution itself says in Article 226 clause 5, it clearly says that if you are in public office or in political office and you made decisions that resulted in the public losing money, You are liable whether in office or out of office, dead or alive. Why can't we use that clause? It's not an idle clause. We must breathe life into it. The Constitution does not have no legs or hands or heads to operate in it. It depends on you. We must do that. And we must, if you go back to history, the doctrine of odious debt, when the American, the US, kicked Spain out of Cuba, and Spain had muscled Cuba with a lot of debts, the Americans rejected. That's where the doctrine of odious debt came up. It says these were debts by the Spaniards for the benefit of Spaniards, for the use of Spaniards. How do the Cubans pay? The same principle must apply. That the debt issue has to be dealt with. Those who are lending know very well that Kenya is a republic. And a republic basically means a government of laws, not of men. It's a government of laws. So if we are a republic, and we have got a constitution, and it says this is how you can borrow money in Kenya, or lend money to Kenyans, and you go ahead and lend, then this time where we should tell the Jubilee regime, those who own the Jubilee regime, and now those who own Kenya Kwanza, because they are maintaining the same trajectory, can you go and talk with the Chinese in Beijing and sort out your issues? And leave us alone. Because if we don't do that, the debt is going to kill us. We have no country, and the debt is a result of violating the law. I don't know if you get the importance of the law in the order of things. So I want us to be very